Hi, today we'll be talking about annotation and how I will want you to annotate text in the future. I have a color coding chart that we're going to be using today, and from here on out, we'll have a link that you can click on and receive that as a PDF. But for the time being, I'm going to walk you through how I want you to use this chart, right? So we're going to do that, we're going to walk through that. After we see this and we understand this, we're going to move on and we're going to do another paragraph from the same text together. And then we will move on and y'all will do annotation by yourselves in individual workshops. But for right now, we're going to go into this text right here. It's from the book An Abundance of Catherines, written by John Green, on page 213 of this book and on the fourth paragraph. It's one of my favorite authors. I love how he writes sentences and constructs them. So here we go. And he found himself thinking that maybe stories don't just make us matter to each other. Maybe they were also the only way to the infinite mattering he'd been after for so long. What's happening in this book is this character is seeking value. He wants to be valued as a member of society, not just now, but for forever, right? And so he talks about mattering a lot, and that'll be important later on. So first thing I'm going to highlight is this second part of this sentence, right? And we'll mess this up. Maybe I'll highlight it. Try to. There we go. Highlight this green because that's what corresponds to in the chart. He uses the word mattering as a gerund, right? So we talked about this a few weeks ago. A gerund is essentially just a noun being used as a verb, right? So this choice of word, this diction, if you will, is important because it's a callback, like we were talking about earlier. It's a callback to the main character perpetually trying to find this mattering. He's continually seeking to matter. Papers are flying away. A gerund in the structure is weird, right? It calls the reader to attention, and because of that, I'm going to change this highlighting to blue for the word mattering, because that will again match the chart. You cannot see that word. I'm going to change the color too. Excuse me while I do this. Now we can see that a little bit better. So it calls us to attention because of his word choice and the form and the word. So it's interesting, right? So we see this and it's weird, it's abstract, and we go, oh, well, that's not how we normally talk. That's not how we normally read. So we're attracted to that, and well, we read it with more oomph, with more focus, right? So I'm gonna highlight the rest of this sentence as well. This whole sentence is using. This is not going with me very well. This whole sentence is using a rhetorical device called chiasmus, which is just like the paralleling of two phrases, right? So like Kennedy's speech, we ask not what our country can do for us, but what we can do for our country, right? It kind of flips things around. Right here we see this. He found himself thinking that maybe stories don't just make us matter to each other. In the second half, maybe they're also the only way to the infinite mattering, even after for so long. Right, so this whole sentence is really read. Oh, I did this wrong. This whole sentence is really red, but there's also layers into it, right? There's green and there's blue. So this is how I want you to do your assignment, and we're fixing to move on to our group assignment. But you may be tempted to just kind of highlight your text in random colors and call it done. I wouldn't do that unless you had a great understanding of each of these colors, and you just kind of wanted to test your ability to think on your feet. But you will be graded on your ability to think on your feet if you're going to do that. If you're scared you're going to forget why the colors are the way they are, again, just highlight whatever part you want to do, click on the comment feature, and comment why, and that'll be easier for you to recall. Flying around. All right, so right here we're gonna stop, and we're gonna move on to our group paragraphs. This next paragraph in on this page, we're gonna work on that together, and then we'll begin independent work. All right, so let's continue.